Two games now where you've had a 3-point lead in the last seconds and did foul. Is that kind of a hard and fast rule on your part, or is it just case by case?
Yeah, it's definitely case by case. 11 seconds, I'd never foul. Too many things can happen in 11 seconds. You foul with 11 seconds on the clock, then you got to get the ball in bounds. You're going to get fouled. You have to make more free throws, and now you're doing it again. So usually anything like that's going to be inside 5 seconds. If it's inside 5 seconds, then you think about it. I think that's something you think about. But 11 seconds, I would never think about it. We got a guard.
I can't remember Stanford. Were there how many seconds were left there? But was it so similar?
At Stanford?
Yeah, at Stanford.
I have no idea. I mean, I'll say this: that shot was defended really well. I do remember how well the shot was defended. He just makes an incredible shot. So I can't remember exactly the timing on those things, but the USC game we definitely played the same way.
You guys are now only 2 games behind Arizona, playing Arizona. How does it feel to kind of be back in the race for the title now?
Well, I don't even know if we look at it as being back in any kind of race. I think our whole focus was when we came back from Oregon, we weren't playing very well. We talked about it. We got smacked in the face at home against Colorado when we were playing well. We'd won 6 out of 7, and not just won 6 out of 7, but playing very well with that. One of the losses in there, being the Stanford game where we had that game won. So if we make free throws, we win that game. So we were just playing really good basketball, and so it was more of this 3-game homestand, get back to playing our basketball. And I think we did that. I think we grew in those 2 weeks offensively, really clicking. Now we got to go on the road, and obviously when you go on the road, that makes it that much more difficult. But our offense is clicking. It's got good flow to it. We got good confidence to what we're doing. The ball is moving again. I thought it really stuck in guys' hands in the Oregon trip, and now we got stagnant. And then defensively, we were really poor in the Oregon trip, and I thought we came back and we made some strides, but we're nowhere near where we've got to be defensively, and that's been our focal point all this week is you got to keep growing. We got to keep getting better. So we're no different than most teams in the country. We're in that first week in February, and we got to make sure we get better. You can't take 2 steps forward, 1 step back this time of year. And so our practices have been good. It was good yesterday, and anticipate today being good. And we're in the middle of midterms, so that's an added concentration that our guys have as well. So really, it's not about. We haven't even talked about the race. We haven't even talked about. It's really, hey, we've gotten ourselves in position because we've played better this past week. Now we've got to go on the road and play 2 really good teams.
Growth defensively, what specifically would you like to see?
Well, I think we're starting to do some of the things well as far as getting our hands up, playing in a stance. Now it's about always jumping to the ball, not jumping to the ball every second or third pass, but it's being able to do that every time, and then really concentrating on communicating, talking. Early in the season, I thought we had a lot of volume and we were really talking, and now it's kind of evolved. That kind of died out a little bit, and now it's evolved. And so the more we talk, the better things that we do defensively. We've been really good in the post. We're going to get a huge challenge with Ristic and Eiton. That's as big a post challenge as we'll have all year. But we've been very good there. It's about taking away the middle drive, which is essential in of how we set things up, and we're still getting beat on middle drives too much. And then finishing. December, we were a much better rebounding team than we are right now, and that's been the frustrating part. We don't want to have to defend multiple possessions. We get the stop, we want to be able to run, and we're very, very good in transition, as good as I think this league has in transitions. And so for us to get out in transition, we have to either turn you over or get rebounds, and we've not been a big turnover defensive team, so it's important that we rebound the ball and be able to go.
They're a good team coming off a loss and now playing at home. Does that make them a harder team to beat in this situation?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it makes it any harder, regardless of what happened in Washington. We knew how hard they were going to be to beat. This is, and I've said it all along. I think SC and Arizona are top to bottom as talented as anybody, and so they're the 2 teams that were picked to win it, and those are the 2 teams that I think they're at the top here in the first week of February, and rightly so. Pretty much healthy and playing at a high. They're 12-0 at home, so they play obviously extremely well at home. So a lot of respect for this team, and we know that we've got to go down there and we got to have our A game, you know, and we've got to play very, very well, because this is a top 10 basketball team.
Last year you went in there and you won. Obviously you had a lot different roster, but what did you tell the team last year that you're going to tell them this year about handling the crowd noise and things like that?
Yeah, it's a good question, because we've been at least able to get some things under our belt. You know, I thought that was an issue at Michigan, because we folded down the stretch against Michigan, and I think that being our first road game for most of our guys had a lot to do with it. And then maybe some of that same stuff happened at Stanford, because we hadn't had a lot of true road tests. And I think and I hope that we've had enough road games now with all these new guys that, although this is probably the best road experience they'll have playing down in Tucson, it is a much different team. We had a lot of experience last year that could help the young guys. Now it's very few experience with, you know, a lot of young guys. So 5 of those guys are really going through it for the first time, and you know, they got to handle that well. But as we've told them, more than playing in Tucson, we had our backs against the wall 2 weeks ago, and that's the first time that a lot of these young guys have had to experience that, and they had to win 3 games in a row at home, and they were able to do that. So they're learning, they're growing. I'm seeing a much better focus and concentration with the young guys, and that's good.
Did you guys start to kind of fine-tune your NCAA tournament resume here? How much does it hurt that the Pac-12 is kind of considered down nationally, and we look at the power rankings, I think they're last among the power conferences?
Well, obviously, as a conference, we didn't get league across the league. We didn't get the wins in non-conference that we normally have, and so that kind of already creates the narrative, right or wrong. That creates the narrative. But I think once January hit, and really, in my opinion, the reason why that happened, you had a lot of teams in the Pac-12 that were new. Oregon new, ourselves new, Oregon State, you know, hurt last year. Now they got all their guys back healthy. Washington State, some new guys, plus some of the experience. Washington, a whole new program. Stanford, muddled with injuries. They didn't get healthy really until almost when we went in there. So they've been beat up and hurt. Cal's a whole new team. So you got a lot of teams, I think, in the Pac-12 that Utah, a lot of new players. Colorado, new players. Most of us, other than really SC and Arizona, and a little bit to Arizona State, because they got a lot of guys back. We were trying to find ourselves. And, you know, fortunately, we were able to get to Kentucky. We thought we had Michigan. But I think the league was just very young and inexperienced in the non-conference. And now once league play started, teams have gotten healthy. You're starting to create your identity. And now you're seeing a lot of really competitive games in league, which makes it exciting. But to see how that's all going to play out NCAA-wise, it's just too early to tell.
We've talked a lot about Jalen and Chris Wilk, but what have you seen from Chris Smith in terms of the way he's growing?
I mean, I love the kid. I think he's going to be special. You know, he's the youngest player in the Pac-12, and he's going to have those moments where he plays like the youngest player in the Pac-12. But I love his demeanor. I love his work ethic. You can't teach what he has. I've told him that. You know, 6'9" with length. He's got a good basketball IQ. He's learning, and I'm just seeing him get better and better every week. And that's what we got to have, because I think he'll eventually be a really good lockdown defender, and I think he's going to be somebody that can, one, shoot the ball from 3, take you off the bounce, finish at the rim, great in transition, and we're just seeing that growth. You know, and that's what we just want to continue to see out of him, because I think he's got a chance to be very special.
Do you like that aggressiveness that he showed in the SC game where he went up against, I think it was Met, who tried to dunk on him, drew the foul? Is that kind of the Chris Smith you want to see?
Absolutely. That's the one I want to see. The one I saw in the second half is not what I want to see. But that's youth, and it's in the big moment of understanding that and seeing that. And you know, I don't think anybody's got as big a ceiling and where they can get to than what Chris does. And I think you're going to see that as time evolves. You're just going to see him keep getting better and better. But he's starting to get a little bit more confident in being aggressive that way, and that's a good thing for us, because that really helps our bench.